So, what is the worth of a Nigerian woman? Hi, I am Ramatu Ada Ochekliye, and today I want to talk about what I have titled The Worth of Women. It was in 2013 that I had my political awakening. And because I had my political awakening, I started to look around to see if there were women who I could look up to and see what they were doing in terms of politics in Nigeria. Of course, there were women like Senator Itagiwa, who was there in the system and had been there for a long time. There was someone like Grace Bent, Senator Grace Bent. She was there, and I loved seeing what they were doing. I didn't agree entirely with all they did, but I felt okay, they were doing their best, and they were representative of women in governance. It was this awakening that made me realize that in that time period, we had laws that allowed for a 35% affirmative action for women participation in all walks of life, including governance and politics. But this was not representative of the things that we were seeing in reality. So on paper, we had something that said we should have at least 35% women. That in itself brought its own problems, but it was there at least saying that we should have at least 35% women in participation in government. But I started hearing something else. When women decided that they wanted to participate in government, they were slapped with the label prostitute, ashawo, whatever thing that people wanted to call women like this. They believed that decent women did not participate in politics. And I began to wonder, why did you think that women should not participate in politics? Why was it okay to believe that women were not deserving to lead the community? And then I asked certain people, and at that point, I was a radio and television presenter. And so we had multiple guests who, at many points, would talk about politics. When I did ask male politicians, they'll say, women should be taking care of the family, women should be doing this and that, anything but be in politics. And when we had women on the show, we had someone like Professor Oluremi Shonaya, and she would say women should be in politics, that if we are not in the systems, we will not be able to change them. And I loved her so much because she was the epitome of one, integrity. She respected herself. She was very, very particular about the issues she cared about, and she was not ashamed to run for presidency. In fact, at a point for the 2015 election, she was the only woman who was running for presidency under Kowa Party. And so I said, we need more people like Professor Shonaya, because she showed that women can be intelligent, can manage their homes, do all of that, and still do politics. Because there is this idea that women are monoliths and we are unable to do more than one thing at a time. It is surprising because men keep saying women can multitask. And when it's time to multitask, they remember, oh, women should not be in certain places. And so I began to look around again and I thought, could politics be the path for me? I thought about it. I thought about being a party girl in school. I thought about, having fun and all of that. And I said, it might just not necessarily be for me. Plus, the Nigerian political landscape is very, very tiresome. Look at what's happening right now in Nigeria concerning Senator Natasha Akpoti. Senator Natasha is a senator from Kogi, and from Kogi State, she struggled before she even became a senator. She had the sitting governor at that point, Senator Yahya Bello, destroy the road to her community in order to prevent electoral materials from getting to her. She fought that. She fought multiple assassination attempts. She fought that. She fought the sexism and misogyny that is in our political landscape. She fought all of that. And she got the votes from her people that made her a senator. And then she got into the Senate and had to now start facing new hurdles. What were those hurdles? She has alleged sexism against the Senate president. She has alleged, you know, a lot of things against her, including multiple attempts at her life. And because of these allegations, and she was treated unfairly on the Senate floor, and because she stood for herself, she was once suspended, her detail was taken away from her, and after it was taken from her, she again suffered multiple attempts at her life. So, what is the worth of a Nigerian woman? We see that there is no respect for a woman who can rise as high as a senator. There's no respect for her. You see, many times our politicians will come to the communities when it's time to vote, and then they remember that all votes matter. They come to your doorsteps, they give you money, they shout and sing and dance, and they give the honorary or supposedly honorary position of woman leader so that she will whip up the woman's vote, the women's vote. And guess what? Once women come out en masse to vote, that's the last time they are important. Because when women want to lead and be senators, governors, presidents, even to the small part, let's not even go too far, counselors in their community, they are faced with multiple problems that men do not face. Now, I will state this: men face problems to become politicians in Nigeria. A lot of them are related to religion, related to tribe, but especially related to funding. But women face even worse because no man ever wants to become a politician and is called a prostitute or an ashawo or olosho or whatever term is used to call women in a derogatory way. No man has to worry about meetings at night, but a woman would have to worry about that. No man has to worry about the fact that there might be assassinations against him. There might be, but they are few and in between. But a woman daring to come against men in elective positions is enough reason for some people to think that she's deserving of assassinations or assassination attempts. Let's look at Love Does Not Win Elections by Aisha Oisori. She was a politician who explained completely the fact that she struggled to win elections in Nigeria. She didn't win, but she talked about the comprehensive outlook on the problems that women face in trying to seek elective positions in Nigeria. I suggest and recommend that if you want, please buy this book if you're a woman in Nigeria and trying to understand your worth or trying to go into politics. Aisha Oisori, Love Does Not Win Elections. Now, having looked at this, I realize that our politicians are very smart. We always think that they are stupid. No, they're not stupid. They're really smart. They know when to whip up the female support and votes. They know when to call out women to support them and get their man in power. But they are very deliberate in pushing those terrible misogynistic and patriarchal ideas around women when it comes to women um, leading in Nigeria. Another thing that annoys me to no end is the fact that as a woman, as I am Ramat, if I marry somebody outside of Nigeria, I automatically, gain citizenship. Here in Nigeria, if a man marries a foreigner, she automatically becomes a Nigerian. But if I, Ramat, decide to marry a foreigner, he does not become a Nigerian automatically. Why? Why is my worth important when it's time to pull out the votes for people? Why is my worth important when it's time to sing and clap for politicians or lawmakers or what have you? But why is my word not important when it's time to transfer or confer citizenship on a potential spouse that I may have? So, like I said, our politicians are really smart. They know how to undermine women in a way that is very, very calculating. So, I am in this place where I'm angry about the way politics and leadership happens in Nigeria. Let me give you an example away from politics, but that has to do with leadership. There are many times in the office when a woman is a leader, they tell you, you hear people say women are bad bosses. They don't know how to regulate their emotions. Women don't know how to do this, da 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 da, yeah, 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 yeah. Annoying things. And I always tell people, there are graces you give to your male bosses that you do not give to your female boss because of the conditioning that we have from patriarchy. There are men who believe that a man can talk to them anyhow and it's fine, and a woman cannot talk to them anyhow. And I always tell people, women are not bad bosses. There are bad bosses who are bad bosses, but it has nothing to do with their sex or their gender. It has everything to do with how the person lives their lives. But in leadership, every time a woman comes into leadership position, people want to talk about emotions, da 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 da, nonsense. To be honest, I'm sick and tired of it. I didn't want to go into politics, and I still don't know if I want to go into politics. I'm glad that I work on policy documents that are already changing the way that we treat women concerning Nigeria's economic status. but it is frustrating work. We see what's happening with Senator Natasha, and we are reminded that even if women are able to rise to the highest points, she not only has to deal with the men who may sexually abuse them or abuse her, she has to deal with the women who support these men, as we saw happen against Senator Natasha Akpoti. So I am in that place where I think that because I got my political awakening in 2013, I've only been advocating and what have you. I'm in that place where I'm thinking, do I need to do more? And I'm flipping the question to you. Do you need to do more, especially if you're a woman in Nigeria? I like the idea of someone telling me, oh, if I'm interested in leadership and they're saying Ashawa, I'll be like, and so Ashawa, and okay, what does that change in the price of Gary in the market? I do not feel any shame if someone insults me. You insult me, okay, so what? And I think we need to take that idea generally as women. We need to stand against the ideas that are keeping us subjugated, constantly abused, with no hope for a better future for ourselves and for the children that we want to have. So this is a call for all of us, women especially, women and girls, to be more interested in the politics of our nation. We need to be interested in the policies that define us, that prevent us from being abused. For example, the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act has not been adopted in Kano State, for example, because it goes against some certain whatever it is. And that means if someone is abused in Kano State, that law cannot protect them in the courts in Kano State. So we must be, as what's the word now, into politics as we can. We can no longer sit back and just lie down and accept that things will happen. It won't happen. Imagine me not being able to confer citizenship on a foreign partner. We must come out ready not only to vote, but to know what the issues are. We must know that, for example, women cannot confer citizenship on a foreign partner. We must know that another example is in many instances, people do not believe that there is abuse in marriage, that there's rape in marriage. We need to understand that. We also need to know that in many places, women cannot bail out people from police stations. We must know that. We must know that in many cultures in Nigeria, women are not even allowed to lead. And people will use religion to hold these things to them. So if we continue to sit down like this, especially with what is happening in Nigeria now, especially with the stress that Nigerians are facing, our rights will be eroded in ways that we cannot imagine. It's already been done in many states in Nigeria. Women do not have a voice, do not have a say in anything that's happening. If we allow this to continue, it will affect the entire country. And let us look at countries like Afghanistan, where all of the rights that women fought hard to get have already been eroded by the Taliban. If we keep quiet, if we accept the status quo, if we do not know the issues, if we do not know about the political drama or saga or what have you, if we do not know them and actively participate, we are the ones that will suffer the most. Our worth is tied to how well we can fight for it. And I have just learned, especially from what happened in Afghanistan, that our fight is a lifetime fight. So please, this is my call to women, wherever you are in this country, know the issues, know the people who are deserving of your votes, know the people that you should go out and vote for, and by God, go out and vote. Because we cannot continue living like this, where our rights are not respected because we are women. And to everyone who is working for women's participation in politics, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much. I remember the other day something came up. The immigration service was insisting that women had to put their husband's name to get a renewed passport. And women advocated for it. I was one of the voices, and I was proud to see them scrap that from their website. So please, our rights are only going to be enjoyed if we continue to press the necks of the people who are in government. And we cannot press the necks of the people in government if we ourselves do not understand the issues, do not participate in governance. So please, know the issues, choose the right people, vote for them, and hold these leaders that we have accountable. It was a rant. Sorry, no vex. But it was important that I say this. So I've come to the end of this conversation today. I want to hear what you think. Should women be in governance? Should our worth be tied to just voting? Should we continue to fight for ourselves and for our future? And if you don't agree with it, of course, I would also like to hear from you. Why? Why do you think we should not be in governance? Maybe we can have conversations that will let us change our perspectives. So please stay to the end of this video to learn more about what we do and to see ways that you can contact us so we can keep the conversation going. I want to end on this note. Women, our worth is in who we are. We are full, whole, complete human beings, and we are deserving of every space that we want to be in. Bye.